Greetings from the Erie Coast. This is Mad Shad. This is another episode of the Zoot Report, the Sunroof edition. Yeah. Get a little of that. It's beautiful, huh? Yeah, well, here in Northeast Ohio, it is 95 degrees. Wow, 95 degrees. It's hot. It's hot. It's so hot that it's murder season. Yeah, remember what I said before? Check the archives. I had a video and I was talking about that. It's murder season. And yeah, it is. we got street takeovers, we got fucking impromptu riots, we got looting going on just in broad daylight. Damn, what the fuck? It's crazy. So I tried to make this video yesterday, but my phone literally overheated in the hotness of my car, I guess. I don't know what the fuck happened, but and my battery died, overheated. By the time I got home, I was like, nope, I'm not making a video. So here we are, the next day. Yeah, so there's been rioting in the streets and in Florida, New Jersey, of course, right? Florida, New Jersey. Of course, you got all the ICE stuff going on, right? Anywhere there's an ICE facility, there's rioting going on. Yeah, they're really strong up in Washington State, Oregon. They're just tearing shit up. During the day, everybody's like, oh yeah, we're just gonna stand around and fucking sing songs and kumbaya and fucking push their show their gayness, right? Show their debauchery. But then at night, it's time to burn, loot, murder. It's FSU time, fuck shit up time, and they are, man, they are. Wow. So what does that mean, man? What does that mean? Murder season. It is hot. People act a fool. And it's kids. I mean, yeah, there's some adults in there. Sure. Some adults, some young adults. And they're probably the ringmasters. They're the ringleaders. They're the riot leaders. Hey, why don't you go over there? I'm gonna go get. Hey, let's go hit the Nike store. They always hit the Nike store or the convenience store. It's funny. It's very ironic. They hit up the convenience store that's owned by immigrants. It's like, what? I thought this was a racially motivated kind of thing. Nah, they're going after black-owned businesses. They're going after immigrant-owned businesses. Because they're just easy targets. Really, they don't give a fuck. They just want any reason to just riot. I mean, shit. I mean, can't we all just get along? Rodney King, can't we all just get along? No! Let's riot! And everybody, Red light flashes, time to retire, and we turn that motherfucker to a structure fire. Right? I mean, they just, any reason nowadays. They want anarchy. Or their idea of anarchy. It's not anarchy, all right? The true definition of anarchy is a society without government, all right? Which sounds pretty damn good to me. But it was hijacked by and I have to say that growing up, I felt the same way. The whole A thing. I had the A on my shirt. I was a little punk rock skater. I was like, yeah, we want anarchy, anarchy, anarchy. Do what you want day, purge day. And that's not anarchy, but that's what they want. That's what they want to call it. Okay, I mean, tell you the truth. If there was, that's what would fix it. That's what would fix it. Anarchy. Anarcy would fix the riot, the burn, loot, murder crowd. It would, because there would be nothing standing in decent folks' way of handling shit themselves. Case in point, Roof Koreans. Shout out to the Roof Koreans. Yep, LA riots. And that spread across the United States, by the way. I think I was in high school when that shit happened. Yeah. And you know what? The law was like, don't even try it. Nope, we'll shoot you. We shoot looters. Like, yeah, Tennessee's based, I guess. But yeah, anarchy would solve it. It would. I mean, during the summer of love, so to speak, right? I remember I watched all the footage. All the footage. Everybody. I watched everything. Bill in Baked Alaska. The trucker guy. News for reasonable real estate. Reasonable, whatever. But I watched everything. So many. Polyfrog 64. That was probably one of my favorites. They were restreaming from other streams too. From the woke web stream. All that shit. I got to see both sides. And what I noticed, yep, I was right there. I watched live when the Kenosha kid did the spicy bicep and unalived a chomo. I was there live. I watched it in real time. It was glorious. But something I noticed is that they only did that shit where nobody was. Nobody fought back. When they went into the suburbs, when they went into the cities, they're mostly the cities. There's nobody living in the cities. They're in apartment complexes. They got no skin in the game. They're like, fuck you. I'm in my vault. 53 stories up. You can't touch me, right? And yeah, there was some shit going on. Yeah, some shit happened. People died. People actually died. Chaz and Chop. But the police just let them do whatever they want to do. And the people that live there, they were like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you do? You take up arms. You preserve your heritage. You protect your land. And I seen that. I seen it in Florida. I seen it in parts of Washington State and Oregon, where communities literally just stood out in front of their homes and their businesses with guns and said, "Don't fuck around here." And Blim and the ACAB 13 people walked by and they were screaming. They might have threw a few rocks or whatever, but they didn't fuck around. They're like, "We will shoot you." Second Amendment to save the day. Boom, there it is. Boom, there it is. So the way they're getting around it now is that they're not announcing it. Before it was the anticipation is worse than the act itself. We're coming to your cities. We're coming to your towns. We're coming to your rural areas. I remember one march that happened in the woods, and they were walking down the street yelling and shit. It started out at day, and they hauled ass by the time sun rose or sundown, because all they seen was just people standing out by their fence line with guns, just standing there, not saying a word, nothing. And then those people that were standing there just disappeared, and next thing you know, shots rang out. Bang, 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 bang. They were just shooting. They were shooting on their property, which they have the right to do. You have a right to shoot on your property in a rural area, most of them. And these rioters, I might be going to jail. Hold on. These rioters, they fucking hauled ass. They were running. They're like, oh no, oh, run away. Oh, I just passed a cop. Doing 75 miles an hour. Let's see what happens. Oh shit. I've slowed down. But it looked pretty bad. I was doing 75. Everybody else was slowing down, so I was the fastest thing out there. We'll see what happens. Hopefully not. Anyway, they hauled ass. They were out of there. They got out of the woods. They left the woods. They're like, nope, nope, nope. And I remember they tried to ramp it up, with the whole NFAC, the armed NFAC. They're walking around, with guns, which is their right to do, sure. But then they started shooting each other. Oh my God. There was some shootouts that happened in the city with groups, and on Quifa, and mostly on Quifa, right? They want to shoot. They want to shoot out. They want to escalate things, but they want a justifiable escalation. They want to be like, well, he shot at me, so we shut up the whole town. Like, okay, all right, but the communities where folks literally stood outside and practiced their Second Amendment, right? Nothing happened. Nothing happened. And like I said, the weathermen, if you can call them that, that's exactly where they come from. The Antifa. That they're the weathermen of the 60s and 70s. They're the communist arm. They're the Khmer Rouge. They're the red shirts. They're the Maoists. They're the Stalinists. They're the brown shirts. But they're in black bloc, right? They reinvent themselves, right? And they use terror. Everything is terror. So they announced when they were going to march. They announced what they were going to do, right? Oh yeah, we're going to come through your town. We're going to come through your town next. Fuck shit up. Right. And I remember they went down, we were going down, they parked, they went to a rural type of suburb outside of town. And they started marching down the street, and then they found out that right before the suburb that they were about to march in, the road was blocked with SUVs, bunch of SUVs blocking the road, and guys with guns, 20 or 30 of them standing there going, nope, don't come this way. fuck you, we do what we want, it's our. Then they start pulling the right. We have a right to protest, we have a right to assembly, right, Nope, go away. We have guns, go away. We will shoot your ass. And they did. Of course they're going to argue, you know, that's what they're good at, trying to do their argument. But yeah, it's murder season, riot season. And so now these groups they're getting into, you know, different chats or, you know, whatever, these secure chats, which, look out for that. They're going to start, oh, these chats are wrong. There people are using them to organize riots. Yeah, they are. Yeah. And that's how they're doing it. There's, you know, Snapchats and whatever. Just PMing each other, texting each other, right? Got like a text block going on. They go, hey, you know, boom, let's go. It's going down. It's going down to Daytona Beach, yo, yeah. And everybody just fucking shows up and shows out. And it's mostly kids. See, the kids have that angst. They have that energy, right? And I'm sure you've seen the footage I have where they're literally like 20 people just start dancing on a car, and, you know, and crushing it, crushing the windows. The people have already fled. They're gone. They're like, damn, my car. Oh no, my car. Yep. What was the Summer of Love? I remember the Weapon Snatcher. You're not a sub to the Weapon Snatcher. That was pretty cool. This guy, he was working a security gig at the time, and the riot broke out. The Antifas, and you know, in that city or whatever, you could lawfully walk around with a weapon, right? Slung or whatever. Well, the Antifa types, they had it like low ready. And Weapon Snatcher just was walking up to folks, just boom, just gangster, putting a fucking, you know, block in their face and snatching their rifle away. And anyway, oh shit. And he had like 5 or 6 rifles. Yeah, like 5 or 6 rifles slung. He did that shit all day. Like, oh shit. So a riot, a group of a riot or whatever, is a great way to hide those agitators or those sharpshooters, or those, you know, I mean, that's how they do it. You know, like, okay, you're gonna, hey, you carry the gun, you carry the rifle, you carry the Molotov cocktails, and we'll just kind of mix in with the black bloc, right? Because we all look the same, and then we'll attack, and we'll give you the order to attack, what the target is, and you'll get away scot-free. That's how they work. But a lot of these, just, you know, the ones that we're seeing now are just literally kids acting a fool. You know, they're just rioting for no reason other than to riot, other than to, you know, just fucking wilding out, whatever they call it. You go wild out, do a street takeover, you know, do donuts in the middle of the fucking intersection, right? Bust out window, and while that's going on, yeah, there's people looting fucking stores, shit like that. There's a lot of graping going on. Young girls are getting graped because, you know, who's going to stop them? Now, these tourist towns, they don't play. And they've, like, when it went down in Florida, the cops, like, just said, that's it, boom, riot control, let's go. You know, you gotta protect those special interest tourist areas, you know? A lot of money is generated from those areas. Imagine that you're there on vacation with your family, you know, and you just came from the beach, you're sunburned. You've probably been drinking a little bit of beer, you know, whatever. The kids are hot. They're tired. There's an ice cream shop right that's in between the beach and the hotel that you're staying at. It's less than 500 meters away. You know, yeah, we're gonna just walk. Let's walk. Let's get ice cream. Cool down, right? Kids are like, yay, ice cream. And then, you know, next thing you know, yeah, what? You know, everybody's like fucking dancing and singing. Shots start ringing out. You know, people are starting to fucking just grab anything they can, right? You know, lots of snatch and grab robberies going on. People are looting. You know, half-naked people. You know, there's sex in the street, literally. Sex, drinking, weed smoke everywhere. And these kids are just violent as hell, rolling up on people, beating the hell out of each other. You're there with your family. You just got you're in your swim trunks. You got your like 3-year-old and 5-year-old, you know, and maybe some teenagers, kids with you, and your wife. What do you do as a grown man? What do you do? You just walked right in the middle of it. No, it just happened. Like you're just walking down the street and just boom, it exploded. Boom, it happened. Oh shit. Oh shit. I have walked. I have done a Black Bike Week in Myrtle Beach. I was there for 20 years. They've got in the beginning, it was wild. It was literally, and you never hear about it because they want to keep it on the low because it's bad for business, bad for tourism. But imagine a 26-mile strip on the beach, right? Of nothing but hotels and bars and restaurants and shops. All of a sudden, and we're talking a population roughly about, I don't know, I think it's like 26K, you know, that live there and work there. During the tourist season, it fluctuates. You know, people come in and out, so you'll get an extra 50K, you know, running around doing things. That's cool. But what if 500,000 people just show up and show out and take over? It's fucking crazy. Crotch rockets are just fucking zoom, 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 zoom. Butt ass naked women and men on the back of crotch rockets dancing. People are fucking drinking. People are smoking. They're trashing everything. They're just walking through the street. There's no traffic. The only traffic you see are fucking crotch rockets, and they're showing out. The strip. You cannot drive down the strip. It's 500,000 people walking down the strip in the middle of the road, just fucking doing whatever the fuck they want. I mean, they called it Murder Beach for a while. And they put things, you know, they put it under wraps. You didn't hear about it. And it was going on for years. Absolute years, man. It was just a crazy party, man. Crazy party. Hell, I think Wesley Snipes, he actually made a movie about it. You know, just a bunch of bikers in their crotch rockets acting a fool. Yeah, craziness. And we tolerated it. There was a lot of businesses that just shut down. Restaurants, they shut down because of the dinner thieves. 30 people would come in, you know, hey, let's get a steak and shrimp. Yeah. Wow, you know, and you know the owner, everybody there is like, oh man, we're about to make a lot of money right now. Fuck yeah, and then they leave. They just run out. Like, what happened? Wait a minute. Y'all got $1,000 fucking bill. No, somebody needs to pay this. No, they're gone. They're gone. Boom, dinner thieves. Crazy, man. Crazy. That was Myrtle Beach. 20 years I lived there. Now it's gotten better. They started doing. They organized the police in ways that you can't even imagine. They swelled up their police force, got better training, more of a presence, and then what they did is they would basically, hey, all these other counties and cities in South Carolina, why don't you send your cops here and just hang out on the street? We'll give you authority. We'll deputize everybody, right? You just come in, deputize, and so, drive your car, wear your uniform, and there was 500, 600 cops standing around, thousands of cops. I don't know. You'd have to. I don't know exactly, but they were everywhere. And shit stopped. They stopped doing that shit. And yeah, they started arresting motherfuckers. But for one thing, Myrtle Beach is South Carolina's cash cow. Like the state of South Carolina based its economy on Myrtle Beach. Everything else is just whatever. Myrtle Beach makes the most money, billions of dollars, and so it is with a lot of other states that have beaches and resort places. So yeah, be careful going on vacation, going on holiday. Now overseas, oh man, Europe, Britain, folks, it's going down. They've lost their country. They've lost their country, and the people are fed up. Yes, the people are fed up. It is a replacement migration. We were watching the Hegelian dialect in action right there. They're trying it here. They've tried, but for the most part, people will just assimilate. We're built up of immigrants anyway. But like Britain, it's a homogeneous kind of society anyway, basically white people, right? Same thing with Germany, same thing with Switzerland, same thing with Sweden. Same thing with it's a what they call culturing. How do you like your culturing? Your mandatory culture. But it's replacement migration. It's the Hegelian dialect. And they're literally, they want a civil war. They want riots because it justifies the government to move on. Yeah, and we're talking the New World Order bullshit. When the indigenous people of Britain and Europe start to fight back, then they go heavy-handed on them. So they have a two-tier policing system where, what's his name? Henry Novak? Yeah. Literally got stabbed by a Sikh, an immigrant. Stabbed by a Sikh and his brothers while his mom watched. Yeah. And then they arrested the victim, put him in handcuffs, and let him bleed to death. This was years ago. It's just now coming out. People are outraged. They are pushing the outrage. They want people to be outraged. They want it to go down so they can justify pulling in the military or, being more heavy-handed. And they've replaced their police. They have immigrant police. The bobbies have been infiltrated. Yes, the good old bobbies. What's all this then, eh? Oh, eh? We're the fish police. We're the church police. Hey, what's that you, eh? No, excuse me. Please and thank you. Put these handcuffs on now. Thank you. Right? I mean, you make a fucking bad Facebook post that the government doesn't agree with, and you're going to jail for fucking years. You're going to prison. It's full on. It's riot season over there, and yeah, like I called it, man. I told you so. I told you so. Ireland, they're bombing. Yeah, the Irish car bomb is back, baby. It's back on the menu. Machete attacks, home invasions against immigrants, by the way, and vice versa. They started these immigrants. They set up a gang. They literally set up a criminal organization once they come into an area, and they start to do the takeover. And they hide it in their large numbers, and their friendlies. All these women and children. All these women and children in these areas, and these old men, and well, guess what? Those are the moms and dads that support their fighting age males to do the takeover of that country, of that community. And the Brits are singing it. The Brits now know what's up. The Europeans now know what's up. Oh shit. I mean, hell, we got outraged with the Somalians and the learning centers. I mean, you could with Dearborn, Michigan, or whatever, Michigan, yeah. So they have enclaves here in this country, but for the most part, it's not a growing, it's not a thing, right? It's really not a thing. It can be though. It can be. Washington State, California, New York. You got Mondami over there. They're setting the environment for murder season. They are. They want it to happen. Welcome to destabilization. Nothing destabilizes a community more than burning, looting, and murdering, right? A group of people that get to do what they want while decent folk that have been living there for centuries get ostracized and get literally imprisoned for fighting back. Like how do you break a people? There you go. That's how you do it. Okay, girls. That was cute. Two blondes in a Jeep with their top down. The Jeep, not them. They're both wearing matching clothes. Black top, white shorts. They're taking selfies at the look at me in a white Jeep. You go, girls. In Britain and Europe, women, girls, and sometimes young boys are not safe. They cannot go out in town, even with a chaperone, because 30 people that are not from there and do not speak the language and care nothing about your feelings will surround them and kill whoever the chaperone is. Just stabby, and then they will have their way with your daughters and wives. That is the harsh reality that's going on overseas in the other Western world. They're trying to do it in Europe, Australia. Australia is proving quite difficult because apparently there's still men there that are willing to punch your teeth in. I gotta say, I mean, that's pretty cool. They don't have guns. They do have guns. Interesting enough, they do have a lot of guns. And, you know, the whole thing about lost my guns in a boat accident, they have caches. And they just keep moving them around. And so the Australians have like this kind of Australian ATF, if you will, that's kind of like a secret police, and they're running around trying to find these guys, these people that have this massive hoard of guns and ammunition, right? Now, mind you, if you have a farm, or if you're going out in the bush, you're allowed to carry a shotgun, a pistol, you know, whatever. Yeah, they have a lot of restrictions, bullshit, whatever. But out in the bush, they get to carry guns and stuff, especially on their land. And so that's what they'll do. And the Aborigines, they got guns too. So there's a bit of a conflict. You don't hear about what's going on in Australia too much because they still have men. They still have men. I don't know. Europe, what happened? Where'd the men go? I know where the men went, and it's your World War II veterans. You know, those 80-year-old men that fought and died on that land against a true fascist government. They're the men, but now they're old. And they can't fight. How sad is that? I watched one of those veterans talk about what the hell happened to the same guy that they gave they did some kind of accolades or whatever in the parliament, and he gave a speech, and the parliament was like, no, shut him up. No, we can't. He's a war hero. And he's just going off. He's like, I don't know what happened to my country. I fought, lost an arm, lost an eye, I lost friends, I lost family members, you know, lost everybody I knew to fight for this country, and y'all let it happen anyway. That is fucked up, man. That is fucked up. How fucked up is that? You know, he's like, the comrades that died, they're rolling around in their graves right now. So yeah, murder season, and it's by design. You know, it's these young kids nowadays. They just need a reason. You know, they just need a reason. They've already been pre-programmed through the social engineering, social media, the social media complex. They've already been pre-programmed, and they're just standing by waiting. It's hot now. You know, let's fuck, fight, eat a hamburger. That's. I know that's some gangster discipleship, but you know, whatever. That's the mentality. That's the mentality. So be careful out there. Be careful of these flash mobs that just show up out of nowhere. You know, and it looks innocuous at first. Oh, look, a bunch of kids, they got music and they're dancing. You know. They're dancing around, and next thing you know, it escalates. Glass gets broke. People start to cheer. Woohoo! Right? Fuck out of the way. Go, man. Go. Fuck out of the way. Why you stop? No reason to stop. This guy, you even know what you want to do? Oh, look at this. Oh, what'd you guys hit? Yeah. You're an idiot. Idiots. Traffic, you know, traffic's crazy. It's hot, you know. People want to get home. People had a long day at work. Yeah, they're tired. And so you can be susceptible to this type of, takeover. This flash mob rioting that happens. And it's going to happen more. Watch. Oh yeah, I said it was going to happen anyway. Told you so. I told you so. I can't say it right. Y'all know that meme. I told you so. Yeah, I told you so. There you go. I got you. I told you so. So yeah, thank you very much for hanging out with me today for another episode of the Zoot Report, Sunroof Edition. It's hot, folks. Hope you had a nice winter, because it's going to be a hot summer. Haha. Yeah. Ooh. Get choice parking. Let's see what happens. Oh, shit. Ah, sookie. Yep. Nope. Yep. Nope. Yep. Nope. Yep. Okay. Let's go. Yeah, parking the beast right now. So something I'm gonna be looking into. They make a hardcore ceramic covering for your windshields, for your windows of your car, and like you can't break it with a hammer. It's purposely designed to protect your shit against rocks getting popped up, in traffic. By these trucks. Zoot has fallen victim to the rocks. So windshield's all damaged. But yeah, thank you very much, folks. I'm all done here. Oh yeah, by the way, it is Friday Eve. That's right, Friday Eve. Tomorrow is Friday. Yep. Shout out to my boss that coined that phrase. I'm using it. So yeah, it's Friday Eve. Finally. So yes, thank you all, folks, for hanging out with me. And skull.